Once upon a time, there was a wicked and greedy king named King Raymond. He had a kind and beautiful daughter, Princess Lily. Many princes from distant lands came to ask for her hand in marriage. But King Raymond was jealous and selfish. He did not want his daughter to marry, because he feared that one day she would choose a prince who would take his throne. So, whenever a prince asked to marry Princess Lily, the king said, "Before you marry my daughter, you must pass 3 tests." But each test was impossible to complete. And when the princes failed, King Raymond declared, "You have failed, and now you must die." Then his executioner would cut off the prince's head. "You will never marry," the king said to his daughter. And he laughed cruelly. Prince Daniel was the son of a humble king from a small kingdom. He heard about the beautiful Princess Lily and said to his father, "I want to marry her." His father shook his head. "No, my son. King Raymond is cruel. If you go, he will kill you. You are my only son. I cannot lose you. There are many princesses in the world. You do not have to marry this one." But Prince Daniel was determined. He could not eat. He could not sleep. In the end, his father sighed. "Go then. Go to the princes. But I pray that you will succeed where others have failed." The prince jumped with joy and prepared for his journey. He ate well, trained hard, and grew strong and ready. Then he set off alone to find Princess Lily. As he walked through the forest, the prince saw something strange. A large hill stood in the middle of the path. That was not here before, he thought. As he got closer, he realized it was not a hill, it was a man. A giant man, lying on his back, asleep. The prince went closer, and the giant man woke up. "Who are you?" asked the prince. "I am Big Tom," said the giant man, yawning. "I was asleep because I ate a small breakfast this morning. Now I am hungry again." "What did you eat for breakfast?" asked Prince Daniel. "Only 5 cows and 20 loaves of bread," said Big Tom. The prince laughed. "Come with me, Big Tom. If you help me, I will give you all the food you want." Big Tom grinned and followed the prince. A little later, they saw a man with his ear pressed to the ground. "What are you doing?" the prince asked. "I am listening," the man said. "I can hear what is happening in every corner of the world. I can hear the birds in the sky, the fish in the sea, and even the voices of people in faraway lands." "Can you hear what is happening in the castle of King Raymond?" the prince asked. The man closed his eyes and listened. "Yes," he said. "Another prince has just died. What is your name?" "I am Sharp Ear," the man replied. "Come with me, Sharp Ear. I will need your help." And Sharp Ear followed the prince. As they walked further, they saw 2 long things stretched across the road. "Are they trees?" asked Big Tom. "No," said Sharp Ear. "They are arms, the longest arms in the world." They walked closer and saw a tall, thin man standing nearby. "What is your name?" asked the prince. "I am Long Arms," the man replied. "I can stretch my arms across the highest mountains and the deepest rivers." "Come with me, Long Arms. I will need you." And Long Arms followed the prince. Next, they saw a man with a hand over one eye. "Is something wrong with your eye?" asked the prince. "No," the man said. "I can see everything even through mountains and walls. When things are too close, I must cover one eye to see clearly." "Come with me, Quick Eyes," the prince said. "I will need your vision." And Quick Eyes followed the prince. Finally, the prince saw a man wearing many thick coats. "Why are you wearing so many coats?" asked the prince. "Because I am always cold," the man replied. "When I take off my coat, the sun disappears, the rivers freeze, and the world turns to ice." "Come with me, Cold Man. But please, do not take off your coat," and Cold Man followed the prince. Prince Daniel and his new servants arrived at King Raymond's castle. "I want to marry Princess Lily," he said boldly. King Raymond smirked. "Then you must pass 3 tests. If you fail, you die." "What is the first test?" asked the prince. The king grinned. "I lost my golden ring in the lake. Find it before the sun goes down." Prince Daniel turned to his servants. "How can we find the ring?" Sharp Ear put his ear to the ground. "I can hear it. It is at the bottom of the deepest part of the lake." Big Tom drank the entire lake in one gulp. Long Arms reached into the mud and pulled out the ring. The prince gave it to the king. King Raymond was furious. The next morning the king said, "Eat 30 roasted chickens before noon, leave no bones behind." Prince Daniel smiled. "Come with me, Big Tom," he said. Big Tom ate all the chickens in minutes. The king's face turned red with anger. That night, the king invited the prince to dinner. He secretly put sleeping powder in his wine. After dinner, the prince was taken to Princess Lily's room. "If you fall asleep, she will disappear," said the king. The prince's eyes grew heavy. He began to fall asleep, but outside the castle, Sharp Ear heard the king's men taking the princess away. Quick Eyes saw where they took her. Long Arms reached inside the castle and grabbed her. By sunrise, the princess was back. King Raymond's plan had failed. The next morning, the king was furious. He locked the prince and his servants in a stone room and ordered a fire beneath them. As the flames grew, Cold Man took off his coat. Snow fell from the sky. The fire went out. The prince and his men escaped. Seeing he had lost, King Raymond fled the kingdom. Prince Daniel and Princess Lily were married. They ruled the land with kindness and fairness, and the good servants stayed with them forever.